this week on Detroit Lions Free Agency Wars. We have ourselves another week of NFL free agency in the books now. So after the Lions made a ton of moves last week in free agency, the Honolulu Blue Brigade has followed their busy week 1 with a not so much busy week 2. Only a few moves here or there, but not much to discuss. So anyway, let's see how the Lions fared this week for free agency. So of course, this week, the details for Tony McRae's contract has been confirmed. As it's been said here that Tony McRae's contract is a 1-year deal worth $1.5 million. So for Tony McRae, his deal is more for special teams, which is where he excelled with the Bengals last year. Same deal with Jalen Kearse. So we have 2 players that could be in on special teams, but could be bodies that are cut by training camp. We'll have to see. And we do need some special teams help for sure, since last year the Lions special teams was fucking atrocious. Well, other than those 2 touchdowns Jamal Agnew scored, that kick returned for a touchdown and then that punt returned for a touchdown. Other than those 2 Jamal Agnew touchdowns last year, special teams was still a fucking disaster. So now we're getting some help there. Let's see if there could be improvement in there though. Also for the Lions this week, we also suffer a couple big blows in the cap casualty. As Rashad Melvin is gone. A big blow to the Lions secondary. As Rashad Melvin has left the Lions and has signed a deal to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. As the Jaguars are getting ready for their tank job for Trevor Lawrence. Since it's looking like what the Jaguars trained Nick Foles to the Bears, seems like the Jaguars are getting ready to tank for Lawrence. From the looks of it there. But for the Lions, they did make one re-signing to their big issue, the offensive line. Oday Abushi is back for the Lions on another 1-year deal. But there is also another issue for the Lions. A big blow. The Lions have officially released Sam Martin. Sam Martin, the punter, has left the Lions to sign with the Broncos. So now, just like that, the punter becomes a massive need on the Lions draft board. And I do not think the Lions can address it in free agency. I think for the Lions, the best way to address it is in the draft. So I say in like round 5, 6, or 7, one of the later rounds, I think the Lions are going to draft a punter around there. I think that's the best way to tackle this, is draft a punter. So yeah, don't be surprised if the Lions take a punter this year in the later rounds. Since now that's been a need, unless the Lions can find a way to fix it in the coming weeks. The Lions, though, they did make some signings for depth at offense. The Lions have brought in wide receiver Jeremy Davis to the team on another 1-year contract. His cap hit around the same as Tony McRae's and Jalen Kearse's. So Jeremy, he's not that much of a flashy receiver, only had like 5 catches his entire career. But his main bread and butter has been the special teams game. So Jeremy Davis excels very well in the special teams. Someone the Lions can use for special teams, of course. Since, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, the Lions special teams last year was god-awful. So the Lions need to find ways to fix it. He could also be a camp body that gets cut during training camp. We'll have to wait and see. But another depth piece for sure. The Lions' also next big issue is, of course, this week still trying to address the linebacking core. Let's be real, folks. Jamie Collins is a solid acquisition. However, that's not going to quickly turn this linebacking core around overnight. The Lions are going to need to make more signings. The Lions make a signing taking Elijah Lee from the 49ers on a 1-year deal around the same cap hit as Tony McRae. Mainly, Elijah Lee will be more of a special teams player, where he mainly excelled. Could be depth, could be a camp body that gets cut, we'll have to see. But the Lions, they did make another big signing to try and get some blue chip talent over. This signing, they bring in a linebacker from the Chiefs, from their Super Bowl run not that long ago. Reggie Ragland, he comes in. The deal, terms of the contract, not officially confirmed yet. I haven't seen any reports for it yet. I think it's going to be around a 1-year or 2-year deal. Decent cap hit. So, of course, Reggie Ragland, very solid player, can really stuff the run. He's played inside linebacker, so he can play the middle there. Could partner him with Helani to vie there in the middle to stuff the run. Like, the last 3 years, Ragland has had 140 total tackles, so that averages around 46, 47 tackles a year. So, yeah, not a bad pickup. And keep in mind, this was a player the Lions fans wanted the Lions to draft back in 2016, but the Lions passed on him. So yeah, the Lions got somebody the fans have wanted for a couple years ago that they now have. So now with Ragland coming into the fold, now the big question is, now what happens to Jarrad Davis? Will Jarrad Davis get moved to outside linebacker or edge rusher? Or will Jarrad Davis be traded? That is now the big question here. Like I've always said, I've always felt like Jarrad Davis, he should be a pass rusher. I put him on the edge or outside. Like, he's better at rushing the passer than stuffing the run. And let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Jarrad Davis sucks ass in pass coverage. He really sucks in pass coverage. He's more of a pass rusher. I'd have no problem putting him on the edge, but if the Lions aren't going to utilize him correctly, because Jarrad Davis, he did have that solid rookie year under Caldwell, but ever since Patricia came in, Jarrad Davis has had issues adjusting and fitting to Patricia's defensive scheme. That's been the issue. I'll say it here. If he can't fit the scheme and if he's not going to serve any purpose, then I'd say trade him. If you're not going to utilize him, or if he can't fit the scheme no matter what you do, I'd be on the boat to trade Jarrad Davis. Maybe get a nice haul for him. Then again, let's be real, folks. It doesn't even matter what Bob Quinn or the Lions do. It don't matter what they get for Jarrad Davis if they trade Jarrad Davis. The fans will still find a way to bitch about it. Like, let's be real here. The Lions, they could get a couple second rounders or third rounders for Jarrad Davis. They could get a decent draft haul of picks for Jarrad Davis, and fans would still bitch about it, say, "Oh, that's not enough. What is Bob Quinn doing? No." It's like, no matter what Bob Quinn does, fans still find a way to bitch about it, just to be negative for attention. Instead of, I don't know, wanting the team to fucking succeed. But yeah, we've gone over that rant a million times. You know where I stand with it. My side, I'm sticking to it. But yeah, what do you expect? Like, no wonder Bob Quinn really mishandled Darius Slay so much. Because because it didn't matter what Bob Quinn did with Slay. Fans would still find a way to bitch about it. Now watch the Lions take Isaiah Simmons and fans still find a way to bitch about it. Watch. Watch the Lions draft Simmons 3rd overall and fans still find a way to bitch about that pick. Like, it doesn't matter what Bob Quinn or the Lions do. There are fans that will never be happy over it. They just want to complain and moan and groan and bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch until it becomes cancerous. Like, seriously, this fan base needs to get fucking better. This fan base needs to be fucking better as a whole. God damn it. So in terms of the Lions draft board for the 3rd overall pick, their 1st round pick this year, I have no changes to the board. I'm not putting the fork in Isaiah Simmons, mainly because Reggie Ragland's main expertise was inside linebacker. Like, you could still have Isaiah Simmons at outside linebacker or safety or hell, even corner / defensive back or an edge rusher. Like, I'm not going to rule Simmons off because, Simmons' size, speed, and versatility, like, that's going to be something that Patricia doesn't want to pass up. Like, this is somebody that Patricia would gladly want to have in the defense and experiment with. Like, I wouldn't be pissed if it was Okudah either, since the defensive back is now a massive need. Like, I could see the Lions go for Okudah and pass on Simmons with Okudah. We're not really going to know what they're going to do with that pick until draft day. Like, I think the pick is either going to be Okudah or Simmons. Or maybe they could shock us and go with a 3rd different option. But yeah, in terms of this week, I'm putting no fork in Simmons. because of Simmons, what Simmons offers to the table. Like, all the attributes he offers and how many check boxes he checks, and he can fit anywhere in a hybrid defense. Like easily Simmons, he fits the defensive scheme that Patricia wants to run. He's going to be a game changer. Like, I definitely am not ruling out Simmons. So, in terms of me, I'm no fork in Simmons. I still think the pick either will be Simmons or Okuda. So now overall, in terms of the cap situation, the Lions actually have over $50 million in cap space somehow. They're actually able to shut off enough cap space. Then they now have over $50 million. But keep in mind, folks, at least 10 to 15 of that million is going to be saved for the draft. And I think there's going to be at least another $10 million being saved up for emergency costs in case something happens. Because you never know what's going to happen in these crazy times. So roughly around there, I'd say the Lions have roughly around 20 to say maybe 25 million. Maybe even 30 million. They have around maybe roughly 20 to 30 million left to play with. In terms of the draft, in terms of the cap space for free agency. But here's the problem, folks. Like I mentioned last week, the Lions are not the top free agent destination. So the Lions are going to have to be smart and try and get players that fit the scheme. There's a couple still top free agents I think that could still fit the scheme that could come over. It's going to be an interesting couple weeks to see what happens. But keep in mind, folks, the Lions might be able to not do anything for a couple weeks. Because Roger Goodell, the Ginger Hammer, has ordered all NFL clubs to shut down operations for at least 2 weeks from their facilities due to the COVID-19 outbreak. All I say is, there is a way to do free agency that without being in your building. Like, you can literally talk to free agents and finalize everything from your home. Like, literally. Do these NFL teams not know what the internet is? Like, there's also this thing called Google Duo, this thing called FaceTime, this thing called Skype, and this thing called StreamYard. Like, literally. The internet is a wonderful thing, my friends. Like, fucking use it. I thought NFL was ahead of everybody in technology, not behind everybody on the fucking 8-ball. Also in this, NFL teams have also complained to the Ginger Hammer and Roger Goodell by telling teams that multiple teams and GMs have also said they want the draft to be postponed to May so that they would have enough time to scout everybody. To be honest, though, what other scouting is there left to do? Like, you've been scouting these players for at least up to a goddamn year. Like, all we have left now from now till the end of April for the draft is just finalizing your draft boards. Which you can do that at home if you're in quarantine. Like I said, there's this thing called the internet. Plus also, do these scouts not have a computer that they save their work on? Like, does anybody not know what Google Docs or Microsoft Docs are? Like I said, is NFL behind the 8-ball in technology? Like, god damn it. But of course, Roger Goodell made a final decision. Despite everyone's wishes, Roger Goodell has said the NFL draft will go ahead as planned April 23rd to 25th. And in fact, Roger Goodell has sent an open letter to all 32 NFL fan bases. And I actually have a copy of the letter here. I took a screenshot of it. So we're going to go over the letter and I'm going to give my thoughts on what this means going forward. As you know, we have been reviewing and addressing all aspects of our off-season operations, including the draft, in light of current public health conditions. Earlier today, the CEC discussed the issues relating to the draft. The committee was unanimous and unequivocal that the draft should go forward as scheduled on April 23rd to 25th, 2020. Apart from the CEC, I have personally discussed this matter with many other owners, club executives, and coaches, and there is widespread support for the CEC's conclusion. Everyone recognizes that public health conditions are highly uncertain, and there is no assurance that we can select a different date and be confident that conditions will be significantly more favorable than they are today. I also believe that the draft can serve a very positive purpose for our clubs, our fans, and the country at large, and many of you have agreed. Because of this unique circumstance in our country today, the 2020 draft will obviously need to be conducted in a different way. Already, we have canceled all public events. We will not be bringing prospects and their families to the draft, and the draft itself will be conducted and televised in a way that reflects current conditions. Our staff is certainly mindful of the operational issues this presents, and our top priority is putting in place procedures that allows all clubs to operate on a level playing field, so that the draft is conducted in a way that is completely fair to all clubs. All clubs should now be doing the necessary planning to conduct draft operations in a location outside of your facility, with a limited number of people present, and with sufficient technology resources to allow you to communicate internally with other clubs and with draft headquarters. Needless to say, we will be prepared to adjust to changing circumstances in the next several weeks, including the prospects of clubs being able to resume even limited operations within their facilities. Any club with special questions or concerns should be in touch with our football operations, information technology, and management council staffs to discuss those issues. We are confident that if we work collaboratively, we can implement procedures that will make the draft an event that works competitively and for our fans. Clubs have already reached out to discuss particular issues, and we encourage clubs with questions or concerns to continue to raise them with me, members of the CEC, or our staff. The CEC was also clear, and I share the committee's view, that public discussion of issues relating to the draft serve no useful purpose, and it's grounds for disciplinary action. We look forward to working with each of you to make the 2020 draft an event that will make everyone proud and help build excitement for the coming season. So, of course, the main point of this message, of course, is that, health and safety is coming first in this situation. Not only for, the teams, everybody involved in the teams, from the owners to the front office to the coaches and GMs, but also to all the NFL executives, and also everyone on NFL Network. Try to protect everyone's health during this crisis that we're living in right now. For the draft style, like I said, I think it's going to be similar to what they did before 1994, where they announced picks, from a private. They're saying they're going to be from a private location on NFL Network. Going to be a NFL Network special. The teams, they're going to have to do it from separate areas. And odds are the coaches and GMs are going to have to be at least 6 feet apart when saying the picks, because of the new social distancing rule, where nobody can be within 6 feet of each other, to try and prevent the spread of COVID-19. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this draft works out. I agree with the call. I think it should go on its plan. Like, you can still have the draft without the fans. The fans is just a bonus, to share with everybody. Especially the site we saw in Nashville when we had almost over 200,000 people there on the opening day for draft night. Like, the entire Nashville strip was covered with NFL fans from all 32 teams on it. Just some we're going to have to live with this year, Just crazy times. And with how crazy the health this condition has gotten, it's a bit unpredictable, and we don't know what's going to happen by next month or within a couple months. We don't know if COVID-19 is going to last a couple more weeks or a couple more months, but it's unpredictable. We just need to have some normalcy in our lives from now on. You know what? And not postponing the draft to a later date, I think that's a good idea. Still gives us something to look forward to, that what time the drafts will be at, though, those days, that's yet to be determined. I think they could go a little earlier than normal. They could go in the afternoon instead of at night. We'll find out in the coming weeks what's going to happen with the draft. How they're going to do this year. But, of course, none of the prospects will be invited to the draft along with the families. I'm not sure if they're going to be even having any cameras there for the top picks, because, the whole gathering where you can't have no more than 50 people show up for a gathering. Crazy times. It's going to be interesting to see how they pull this off. Very interesting, for sure. But yeah, so far, oddly enough, we have ourselves yet another week of no negativity from the media. Well, except the normal bullshit we get from Mike Valente and 97 won the ticket, obviously. And of course, those other things where the fan base is beefing with each other. You know, hey, it's nobody in the Outsiders, so I have no problem. I don't care about it. Not my pig, not my farm. You know, nice quiet night tonight. You know, maybe I'll sit back, have a couple buds, maybe work on some future projects here, maybe get a head start on some draft previews next week, since I'm now starting the day 3 draft previews coming up. You know, gonna be very interesting couple weeks to see what happens here. I'm gonna drink back here and just enjoy my time. Oh, for fuck's sakes, can I have peace and quiet for 5 fucking minutes? So we have a follow-up to the drama following Darius Slay and Matt Patricia's beef from last week. So we have the follow-up here, where Darius Slay went in more detail on how Patricia was too hard on him, and hurt his little feelings. Poor Muffin, you need a fucking tissue, Sally? So anyway, continuing on, Darius Slay went on record, and Darius said that there was more to this story from day 1 of training camp from that incident. Where after Darius Slay got burnt by the Lions receivers, he tried and buddied up with them. Even mentioning the receivers he was buddying up with that burned his ass in games on Instagram. Matt Patricia took exception to Darius's Instagram posts, to where Matt Patricia would show these Instagram posts to the entire team on the big board, where they review plays and everything for meetings. He'd show that Instagram post, and then he'd tell Darius Slay to stop sucking the man's dick. That's right, Slay. Stop getting down on all fours and stop sucking that D. I'll be honest here. When I first heard that, I fucking laughed my ass off. Because as a former Patriots fan used to say, my reaction to it is, that shit funny to me. Like, fuck. That is actually pretty funny that Patricia told Slay to stop sucking the man's genitals. Like, god damn. Yeah, Slay took big time exception to it. Matt Patricia did respond to his comments from last week, where Patricia said that him and Slay did have some conversations in private. Matt Patricia says that he will not discuss the details in further, since they were private and confidential and he's not going to reveal it, out of respect for Slay. But Matt Patricia said that he thought in those private meetings he had with Slay that they made great progress. Obviously, Matt, you thought wrong. Since Slay is softer than fucking whale shit right now, getting his fucking feelings hurt. Honestly, I don't feel bad that retraded Slay anymore. If this keeps up, the Lions might win this trade in the long term. If anyone wants to criticize the return, let me mention something to use here, folks. Last year, when the Steelers traded Antonio Brown, do you want to know what the Steelers got in return? A 3rd and a 5th round pick, which is what the Lions got for Darius Slay. At first, everyone said the Steelers lost the trade, but then over time, the Steelers ended up winning that trade. Whether Slay becomes as big of a diva as Antonio Brown, that is yet to be determined. Also, in all of this drama, Darius Slay has also decided to take his drama and diva-ness a little step further, where Darius Slay has announced that he will wear number 24 in Philadelphia to honor Kobe Bryant and the Black Mamba mentality. Hold on, let me shake my head there. Did I fucking hear that correctly? Darius, if you want to fucking pull the Black Mamba mentality shit, you better have fucking thicker skin in Philly than you did in Detroit. Because let me tell you something about Kobe Bryant and his Black Mamba mentality. When Phil Jackson came over to coach him with the Lakers, guess what? Phil Jackson always held Kobe accountable, always singled him out in practices. Tell Kobe to stop sucking a man's, genitals, all that shit. And guess what? Did Kobe throw a temper tantrum like Slay did? Nope. What did Kobe do? He put his head down, he kept working harder, and proved Phil wrong. Continued to carry the Lakers for as much as he could. He always welcomed challenge. He always enjoyed it. Hell, Kobe even went on and said that he enjoyed the challenges that Phil Jackson gave him, and pushing him, and singling him out as it made Kobe a better basketball player. All I say is, God rest Kobe Bryant's soul. If Kobe sees this, he'd be rolling in his fucking grave right now. Darius Slay, that's a fucking slap in the face to the Black Mamba mentality. Especially after that shit he pulled in Detroit, acting like a drama queen to Matt Patricia. Because Pat Patricia was hard on him and held him out. Because Patricia expected a lot out of him. Considering that Darius Slay was coming off a career year in Caldwell's final year, when Patricia came over. And I guess Patricia expected a lot more and challenged Slay to step up. And needless to say, the last 2 years, Slay has done the complete opposite. He fell down and had a number of hamstring injuries. And had it coming off an off year. Oh man. I would say this, Slay, if you play like dog shit in Philly, the Eagle fans are about to eat your ass alive. You think we're bad? Oh, you got no idea what's in store, boy. But also continuing on, Darius Slay has brought his drama to ESPN on the show First Take. Where, of course, to no one's surprise, everyone was taking Slay's side and bashing the Lions. Including the part where Stephen A. Smith said that Matt Patricia does not deserve to be the Lions head coach. Honestly, Stephen A. Smith is just becoming more of a loud mouthpiece, just to get a paycheck. Let me be real, the last time I ever agreed with Stephen A. Smith on anything was when he said that Kevin Durant signing with the Golden State Warriors was a coward move. And more so jumping on a bandwagon. When Kevin Durant decided to stab OKC in the back to hop on the Warriors bandwagon, of course. Honestly, let's be real. Only reason ESPN even covered that is because, COVID-19's happening. And that there's nothing for them to literally report with sports being shut down and becoming ground zero. Like, literally, NFL free agency is the only thing we have right now to enjoy. And literally at this point, ESPN is that downright desperate to get a story. They are literally scraping the fucking barrel to try and find a story. And wouldn't you guess it, a story where they could bash the Lions and be more negative to Detroit sports happened to come up. And of course ESPN is going to gladly take that. Since, bashing Detroit sports is the easiest way to get a fucking paycheck in the media. This is why I really don't take the fucking media. It's a fucking joke. Like, they're criticizing the team, and we haven't even seen one practice from them yet, let alone one game. We haven't even seen what their Lions are going to do in the goddamn draft yet. Like, god damn it. So, yeah, that's where I stand with that. Good riddance, Slay is gone. Wish him luck, though, in Philly, but, he needed to go. I'm not sure how anybody is taking Slay's side. And then you wonder why I think society is a fucking joke. Now we know. Now we know because nobody seems to take criticism and can't battle adversity if their life fucking depended on it. Wouldn't you guess it? But yeah, anyway, that's going to wrap it up here, of course, for another episode of Lions Free Agency Wars. Very quiet week, too. A couple depth piece signings for the linebacking core and some special team signings. But overall, not a whole lot. Going to be interesting to see what the Lions can do, if they can do anything in the next couple weeks, with the whole COVID-19 outbreak. Going to be an interesting few weeks. Like, they have a lot of cap space. I think they should make a run at a couple guys, There's been rumors that Lions could go after Logan Ryan. They could go after Carlos Hyde. There's a number of players still out there that they could go after. Gonna be very interesting. But like I said, for my draft board for the third pick, I still think the pick is either gonna be Simmons or Okudah. I want the pick to be Simmons, but I feel like it's gonna lean more toward Okudah. I feel like the Lions are gonna go more for Okudah's direction. Because, Bob Quinn, every draft he's had, he's always played the safe pick in the draft. Like, every pick Bob Quinn's had has been a safe pick. Like, Jared Davis was a safe pick. Frank Ragnow was the safest pick in 2018. Last year's draft, the safe pick was TJ Hawkinson. You know, the debate is who's the safe pick this year. I feel like the safe pick is Okudah, but I wanted to go Simmons because the Lions need blue chip talent that can make an immediate impact. Like, Okudah's going to be a solid player, don't get me wrong, but it may take a year or two for him to get to his full potential. Simmons, he can make an immediate impact right off the bat, you know. I'd be okay with either player, you know, I won't lose it. You know, I would prefer Simmons more, but I wouldn't be pissed if we took Okudah. So, you know, that's just where I stand with that. But yeah, folks, that's all I gotta say. Hope everyone's a great day, and yeah, peace out, see yous next week.